Alright, I think I am recording now. Alright, so I think we're recording now. Alright, so you guys ready? Okay, so you should already be familiar with how to go about loading your checkpoints. So at this point, I'm just going to run with a 1.5 model. Make sure you have the empty latent set to 512 by 512 for just the purposes of this quick lesson. We're just going to do Fox Girl, anime, high detail, amazing quality. Doesn't really matter what you put in here. It's nothing too crazy. So that's going to go to the K-sampler like normal. The only difference with the most basic form of a control net is that you're going to take an image up here, and you're just going to take a basic load an image of any kind. You can put anything in there. In this case, I'm just using the default image that came with it. Then you're going to go into load control net model and have that node on the field. And all this does is it loads in a .path file that's going to understand what type of model. And I got several ones in here. These are all available at numerous places online, whether it's on Civet or GitHub or wherever. So you can download those anywhere. For this one, we're just going to use Canny, because that's the one that everyone uses pretty much for their first one. And this is where you apply the control net. And if you run this, I believe it's going to be broken because we're missing something. So let's find out. Did it? Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, okay, so I guess that one's okay. So that's the most basic control net workflow we can possibly implement, and you can actually play with the strength on this. You can, lower it to 0.2, and you're going to see that it's going to adhere more or less to the image. So there, it's basically a new image entirely. The denoise or the strength of your control net, because all this really does is this node right here interrupts the conditioning of these two, or in this case, just this one. Depending on what you're doing for your control net application, it might have an additional option up here for a negative conditioning. But like I can put in robot and get rid of Fox Girl and all that at 0.2 strength. It's not going to do much, especially with such a basic art pose like that. It's barely going to conform to it. But if I go into here now and I go into 1.1 as the strength of the conditioning modifier, you're going to see it's going to try and conform some kind of robot shape. In this case, it kind of just made it all into a big tan blob, but you can still see the original foxier shape going into this over here. And especially because I put like one word, so if I put intricate detailed background, it might help. So, oops. Now I'm going to hit go, and that's at 1.1 strength. So again, I'm not giving it much in terms of weights to go with or extra stuff. What if I say like mountains, waterfall, wires? Now we go back over here. We're gonna run it.
Okay.
And now again, you can see the outline blur of that original shape, even though it has nothing to do with this shape now. And you can just further increase this, probably up to 1.5 would be safe. You can even go 2, depending on the model, before it starts really having errors. But you can see how that conditioning does affect the image overall. So reality, we probably want to go to like probably 0.8 given the results we're seeing here. And now you get an image that makes sense and is also somewhat conforming to our control net right there. And you can kind of see how that V shape is preserved from the source image that we've given it. So that's the most basic form of control net that you can apply. Now I want to go to the other workflow that I've uploaded, which you guys should have access to now. hmm So give me a prompt in the meantime here. All right, we'll do ballerina with coffee, with a coffee, whatever. Let's see what that does. So that's our prompt, and you can honestly you can put anything in there. Just give it a subject and a couple extra words to kind of work with. And now we're going to work with SDXL. And when you're doing your control nets in SDXL, you do have a positive and a negative on your apply control net. All right, I gotta pause.